I have removed the turbo actuator. This one is the one underneath, and I made a punch mark here right here. This is a self-punching device. You push and it punches. So you have to do like several, because this is sometimes it's not punching hard enough. So I use this screw hole here to locate with the punch mark in between the two coolant port, and also on that one here. This one was not a line. This one here, the lowest one, is the right one. If you look, if we made it perpendicular, holding the camera, this is the one. So the idea is to remove this thing here, to remove the exhaust part of it, take the whole manifold out, and I want to access the turbo cartridge. Once removing the collar here, which is here, of course sometimes when you remove those, they stay they stay stuck on one hand, so you got like to punch gentle with a screwdriver or a punch and it's gonna just release it. Now these two parts are kind of stuck a bit in between each other because it's been sitting there for quite some time. So I'm going to insert here in between a little punch, flat punch, and just tap gently to split them apart. So going around like maybe in 3 different spots gently, it should open it like that. Got to be careful though, because inside here there's the cartridge on the exhaust side, so the propeller, so we don't want to bang that thing for sure. You want to sharpen your punch very well. Mine was not that great at first, so I go on the grinder and make it smooth on both hands and very sharp point. That helps to slide in between and not damaging the surfaces. The exhaust pot is right here, so this is the flange that was holding it. You can see there's a little something like a little mark. Okay, so we're about to dismantle the second turbo, which is in this case the rear one. So we'll remove the clip. So this is gonna free this end of the actuator, so it's gonna free it from the wastegate. Then we will we're gonna remove the actuator. Best place to do so is by the bolts that are on the back. You can see one here. So this bolt here, and then there's another one just hidden here, and like in a, if we turn it, we're gonna see it right here. So So we set it so that the rear is on the rear. You can tell here, rear, and here is the front one. Okay, so I made here punch marks. One. When you're lining up with it, you can see it's in line. These two. Here I made, hold on, more light's gonna be better. Okay, here I made two. One here, two here. The one that we have to line up with is this one. This one is just like, we know there's two on that side, so if ever, which is impossible to screw up with the cartridge side. So this here is the one that lines up with this one. You can see. And there's a second one right here. just to know that it's the two-sided one. So these are the marks to know how to realign cartridge with the intake spiral kind of thing here and the exhaust one. So first off, I'm gonna remove this collar here. Collar is set with just one nut on the other side of that. Let me show you. Right here, we can see the nut. This one here. So we just free it. Sometimes we might have to punch a bit that side or the other side up to make the collar to spin a bit. This is going to free it from its grip on these two components, the cartridge and the exhaust manifold. So if we remove the nut completely, it's going to work easier. Now the bolt is free here on the back. Okay, back to punch. There it goes. It's just free. Make sure we remove this completely, even from underside. Then the punch on that surface here, in between. That should come off easily. You can tell the gap is getting larger now, so it's about to be free. So you need to be sure you're holding it. There it is. Okay. So this is the part we need to take out for fixing the wastegates. We want to make sure not to damage the turbine on the other one. So we're going to have to first off, we're going to have to mark the closed position of the leverage. Then we grind it, take it out, punch out with the puller the bushing inside, insert a new bushing, put back the wastegate from within, and just weld the leverage to its right position. Normally this is supposed to swing around an axis here, but the bushing get worn out and it allows for sideways shifting. See? Don't turn it, but it's like it toggles from side to side, so that allows for a bypass. You can tell from the inside how loose it becomes here inside. It's not supposed to be doing like that. It's supposed to be just swinging like that and closing like that. But then when you keep closing, if you keep pushing on it, it shifts side to side. So what we're doing is we close it inside to see how it goes when it's closed. And from here, put it here. So once it's closed inside, we make a line here that shows how it lines up. It's hard to see the mark here. This with a marker, it's a bit hard to see, but and there's a line, groove line here beside. Yeah, you see it better from that angle. So now we're gonna grind this off. This is gonna allow to remove this leverage here and the plate that goes with it. Then the wastegate is gonna go from inside of here. We're gonna be able to remove it from inside, and then we're gonna have to remove the bushing with a puller. Okay, this one, normally you just grind them slightly and you can see the hole. You can see like a little very thin line around and you just punch it through. But it's been welded, because I had it done by somebody else once and it was welded all the way through, so we had to grind it all the way down. And now you can see that it's wastegate is down the hole, so we're just going to remove it. It might be hot if it's hot. So anyway, I'm gonna set it up properly so I can move it. So we're gonna take it out. It doesn't want to go out. It's kind of stuck, so we're just gonna use a little punch to punch it out. There it is. So that's a old wastegate. Now it's just a matter of removing the bushing. This one's got to be slided out. There's a shoulder on it that sits from this side. Okay, so in order to take this thing out, the bushing, I have a puller that has got it's like a sliding hammer kind of thing. But the thread, it's a puller to pull out a blind bearing. So we're gonna use it for changing the clutch bearing. It's like the pilot bearing. So anyways, I have a puller right here. It's a sliding puller that normally it's used for the blind bearing, blind hole bearing. So what I did, I took a cap screw, Allen cap screw. It's 13. Hold on. It's 7/16 of an inch. The thread on this one. This one is it's a coarse. In fact, it's a matrix thread. It's 14, 12. No, it's M12 by 1.75. So the idea is that we're just gonna have to screw this from inside, and just grinded the head slightly so it's gonna go through the hole of the bushing. And then I'm gonna have to set it up differently because I think it's a bit too shaky. If I'm gonna try to take this out now, it's gonna damage the manifold. And this bolt is a bit too long. I'm gonna have to grind it a bit. So yeah, it's not going through. So I'm gonna have to just cut it a bit shorter, just slightly. So this is gonna be slided from inside the bushing. It's gonna be screwed in there. And then we're just gonna slam it out with this thing. So I'm just gonna cut the bolt shorter so I can slide it from inside, and then I'm gonna show you. Okay, so cut the bolt to make it shorter. Use a die to redid the I made a bit of a 45-degree here to make it smooth to enter, and then use a die. So this is why it looks like the black is off. So insert the bolt in there. This is clamped thoroughly in a big vise that should hold. So now we're gonna put it straight back up like that. Then we're gonna screw the puller here, and we're just gonna slam this thing out. The bushing itself, this is a brand new bushing. This is the way it is inside of there. So you can tell there's a shoulder on that bushing, bigger diameter. So this is why it has to go out that way. So this is also the reason why the bolt that I insert inside, I ground the head a bit to make sure it's not going to damage the surface where the bushing goes in. So that's it. So that's the setup. I'm going to use this slamming hammer puller, hoping for it to work fine. You can tell it's going out. It's working the right way. I'm going to spare you the shaking a bit. That's it. So if we look at the old bushing, you see it from here. See, it's a bit oval at the bottom. It's a bit hard to see because you think about the grinding on the surface that kind of mess with your eye a bit, but if you look from inside, you'll see the wear. You can see the wear at the bottom of the bushing. So this is why this bushing is it's moving sideways like that. When the shaft is in, it has some play on the downside here, and it's just supposed to be allowed to turn without any, well, it can have a little play, but maybe like 1/5 of an inch or something like that. Now this is a play that is significant, as you can see with your eyes when we try this. So next step is quite easy. We just take the new bushing and gently we tap it in with the hammer. So gonna set it up. Okay, so we just put the new bushing. Make sure the hole is fine. It has no special dent or something in there. That's pretty straightforward. So hopefully with just the hammer it's going to be able to go through. You want to make sure you go straight. See, now it's bushing is sideways a bit. It's just that it's a weird setup because nothing is really straight on that thing. Bushing is not that press fit, so it should be fine. Gentle with the hammer. So that's it. Bushing is in. Next step is going to be to insert the wastegate from inside and then weld the leverage on the outside once it's at the right position, and this one's going to be done. So same setup with the second one. Just make a line when the wastegate is closed. Close being, let's flap in. Okay, so we're just going to grind this thing here, holding it with a vise, not too bold because we don't want to crack the manifold, but not too weak because we don't want the thing to move around. I'm using the hammer to hold the wastegate open because when the grinder turns, the wastegate closes, and then the leverage here close like that, and the leverage here is in the way. So with the hammer sleeve, it's very easy to just hold it like that. Makes it easier to grind. Okay, so when you grind and you see a little circle that is appearing, It's because you get deep enough, it should be able to be punched out. You can see it's cracking. So the wastegate is off. This leverage is still hot, so we gotta be careful not to touch that. The wastegate is off. This is off, so now it's a matter of removing that bushing as well. Look at that, it's just it's a bolt that I use for a punch, so that's all there is to it. So same process, we use the hammer puller. We use a bolt that we're going to slide from inside the bushing here. So the bolt is in. Just screw the bolt. I don't know if I should have to do, but it's just a regular cap screw that's just been grounded a bit to make sure it's not going to damage the inside of the surface where the bushing is slide in this thing here, the exhaust part. Right. So just folding it in. We want to screw as much as we can so we don't damage the thread. Then all left to be done is just to slam that in. That's it. So this is the other bushing. We can tell that the it's gonna be easier with the light. We can tell that it's here at the bottom that the wear was out of run. And if you look, you should see that. Yeah, you can tell also inside. I had a bit of an issue here. There was a bit of bumps on the surface. There was one here and one about here. So I can tell the guy that welded it the last time had a bit of a hard time with it. So now it's time to put the bushing back in. The new bushing. wood block instead. It's not damaged really, but wood block is the ideal thing for that. So as you go, you make sure that it's going in perpendicularly. Okay, you have to try the wastegate. Make sure that its swing is free in the bushing. If it doesn't swing free, you have to check. Maybe with the hammer we like punch it a bit toward the inside. So you take a round file and just smoothly you make it good. This one was a bit of a problem. The other one was fine. We also filed down just a little of the shaft. There was some kind of a burr on it, so that's what we did. So then you close the gate inside, you realign this new component here, you realign it like that with the line. When it's closed position, just weld around and it gives you what you have right here, and this is done. So when you want to put the turbo cartridge on the exhaust, that little hole here is lining up with that little pin here. When you another way to see it is this plug here should be facing the underneath, where's the flange, because you want to be able to access oil, coolant and the other oil all around, but not from the back. So that is going up like that. So now it's in. And the collar is going around it with the bolt under it. Then you put the nut on it. When you put that collar on, it's got to be very clamped first together. Then if it doesn't work, you need to have enough thread. You got to be careful because this bolt here, it's got a square section that fits in the square section on the collar. So if it's not lined up properly, bolt is not going to be long enough. So if you did all that and it's not long enough to have at least, let's say, 2 threads here, you might want to use pliers and just pinch it a bit so the collar is going to sit in a bit. But I was lucky enough to be able to torque it by hand a bit. So then you know that you got enough grip, otherwise you're going to strip your thread. So then it's just a matter of tightening that thing with common sense. If you look where my hand is on the ratchet, I'm not using the full leverage. There's no need for that. It's a small boat. You want to be making sense with that. I never unscrew here because it's a bit more difficult. I think it's easier to remove these big bolts. There's 2 instead of 3. So now my length is good. Everything's good because I'm using the same setup. But I got to say that when I look at the hole here, it's getting too big. Gonna have to remove it. This is a hole that is way too big in here compared to the pin size, so I gotta replace this one. So in order to do so, you need to clamp this and unscrew the nut. So I'm gonna use a vise to do something like that. I had to replace the John nut because it got rusted and I got somehow to destroy it a bit to take it out. This is what it looks like now. I don't want to install that and have trouble with it in the future. So right now we just want to put it loose and install it where it goes. So how I adjust this, the idea is I don't want this leverage to travel a lot because it's going to accentuate the wear in the bushing. So I use a vacuum pump that I hook up to the actuator. And then what I do is put it just like that for now. It's got to be close. Now it's closed like that. And when it opens, you gotta see how much I'm willing to open that thing. So that is the open position when there's no vacuum on it. So the idea is to get it not so long for when it's open. There's no need to open that thing crazy. So let's close the leverage with the vacuum pump to see how it's going to behave. So this is when it closes. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that when it closes it still has a bit of strength on it. Okay, so the pin here is broken, so I made a little line with the marker. If you look the hole, this little hole here, so the one is right above, and I did the same on the cartridge. If you look the little hole here, there's a little line I made with the marker. I stretched the line here on the side as well as here on the cartridge. So these goes like this, right? And this is going like this. this is good enough. Yep, cover goes somewhat like this. And then it's a matter of lining up the lines. Once the lines are good, which is, I would say, the case, torque this thing. Lines are still good. Now we can flip it around. Let's double check marks if they line up properly. Yeah, that makes total sense. So now final torque to this thing. Again, look how the hand is. I don't use out all the full leverage. It's just a matter of getting this thing to be tightened, but we're not trying to take the juice out of the steel. Sorry about that. Now if we look at the actuator on that side, remove the clevis that's coming with the new wastegate. If you look at the fit of this one, it's pretty good. So that's why I got to replace them, because if you look at the previous one, you can tell how bad it is. So I got to replace the old ones. So actually this is the one going there, because it's still on the actuator. As you can tell, it's the same problem. So I'll show you how we fix this thing. So I put the actuator in the vise, clamping it on the clevis, then use a vice grip, clamp the nut, and then just unscrew that thing. This one is easy. The other one I have a bit more of a headache with it. So it's just a matter of unscrewing that thing. I will replace the nut that's on it. Then there is a flat here, so you use a long nose vice grip that I clamp on it, because I don't want the rod of the actuator to keep turning. Then clamping this thing once again. It's just a matter of unscrewing the nut without the rod to turn on it. So that's all it is to it. So same process, screwing up the actuator in place, bolting it up maybe. good. Now vacuum pump. This is the in position. Put a new nut. Interlock it. And screwing up that thing. Like this to help yourself. So this is the lock position. Make sure you don't want to have that thing on the so far that it doesn't have any grip on the threads. So that would be the minimum length, I would say, which is almost 2 times the size of the threaded rod. So that's gonna be it. I'm gonna double check the other turbo to make sure I'm not too much on the tip of the threads. And put the small vice grip here just to hold this thing in place. Without too much tension, just a little. Then let's get a washer. Yeah. So let's check for a thin one. This 1/2 one seems a bit thin. That would be perfect. And then let's put the C-clip onto it. That one is good. Let's try it again. That is closed. Then when you open it, so that would be the open position. That is enough to bypass. So when I rigged it the first time, I made sure to get this thing not to move so much, try to save the bushing as much as possible. So this is why it doesn't open as much as it can, and I'm fine with it. So I'm just going to check the other one, make sure I got about the same length here.